Welcome mga kapaglaom, maayong gabi ka natong tanan. Salamat kayo nga naa na sa budin kauban sa ato ang sunod nga gabi sa atong series for the whole week nga giuluhan Let Freedom Ring. Sa gihapon kuyog nato karon si Pastor Dan Palomares ang ato ang Executive Secretary diri sa South Philippine Union Conference. Dati sab nato ni nga director sa PARL o sa Legal and Trust Services o sa kasamtangan mga kaigsunan. Usa siya sa ato nga mga administrators and we are happy to have him in our set tonight. May gabi kanimo Pastor Dan.
May gabi Pastor Hes. Atong igreet ang atong tanang mga kapaglaom, no. Labi na gyud ang Western Mindanao Conference dinaan nagagikan ang ato ang speaker karong gabi, maayong gabi alang kaninong tanan diha.
Yeah, wherever you are watching from tonight, among mga panghinaot, mga kaigsunan nga panalangin sa Ginoo puno gyud sa kadagaya nga gipadagayday nga nihikan natong tanan. Karon atong padayunon ang lahi na sab nga topiko, but before we go there, amo kamong dapiton mga kaigsunan sa binuksan nga pagampo alang sa giyas Ginoo. Magampo kita. Amahan nga balaan, salamat kayo.
Yes, Lord.
Nga niining ikaduha nga gabi sa among emphasis mahitungod sa public affairs and religious liberty. Niining si manahuna, itagaan mo na usab kami og higayon nga makikauban aron among palawman ang among paghangop sa mga katungdanan sa iglesia o sa amo nga mga kagawasan. Ingon nga mga sakop niining nasudnon, nasod nga gawas nun. Tabangi kami Ginoo sa amo nga mga pangindahay, makaplagan kami nga puno sa imong panalangin ug kadagayang proteksyon. Ug samtang among pamatian kining suhito karon nga naguluhan church ambassadors, amo unta nga magkinabuhian kini sa among pag-alagad kanimo. Salamat nga panalangin ikaw sa tanan mo ang mga viewers karon ug sa amo nga magsusulti sa ngalan ni Jesus nga among maluluwas. Amen. Amen. Pastor Dan, atong tanawon sa balik kadali ang atong suhito kagabi which is all about church and state relations.
Yeah.
Sa imo ang na-cover sa imo ang pagtuon sa balaod, unsay imuhang nakita nga sangkad nga pundasyon mahitungod ni ining relasyon sa iglesia o sa estado, Pastor Dan?
Actually, kining relasyon sa estado o sa iglesia, murag matawag nato ni siya nga indispensable. Pero ang nakalami lang kay indispensable but separated, no? Murag ni siya og gamhanan kay ni siya nga relasyon ba tungod kay ilaha man gud ni siya Pastor Hes nga pasikan sa panultihon nga strong fences daw make good neighbors. Strong fences make good neighbors.
Amen.
Now kini siya nga panahon na actually nga ilahion gyud ang iglesia ug lahion ang gitawag nga estado. Dili ni original gikan diri sa kalibutan kung dili kini siya makaingon kung langit nun din siya nga pamaagi tungod kay during the time of Jesus Christ, he already mentioned that there should be rendering of things that belong to Caesars and the things that belong to God. So to pangalahion gini siya. Unya malipay ta nga ang prinsipyo, no? Speaking of principle and policies mga kaigsunan, prinsipyo is permanent while policies may sometimes change over time. Sa ato ang Constitution, Pastor Hes, gibutang gid dito nga part of the principles of our state, of our country, is that the separation of church and state shall be inviolable.
So di gid siya pwede nga lapason.
Di gid siya pwede.
Umikan kay naagi na sa itong batakang balaod mga kapaglaom. O gipanalipdan gyud na siya nga prinsipyo mga kaigsunan. Kung balikan na to kadali ang atong paghangop sa Biblia mga kaigsunan.
Yeah.
Sa ako lang din no nga matawag nimo og surface understanding of biblical principles. Gilay out gyud diha sa Biblia mga kaigsunan nga ang iya sa pangagamhanan, Yeah. Ug ang iya sa iglesia, and yet as a church mga kaigsunan, gitawag ta og buutan nga mga lumulupyo sa nasod.
Amen.
Granting gumikan kay bisan ang mga gobyerno Pastor Dan, ang mga pamalaod are also ordained and blessed by God.
Yeah.
Mao na nga sa church mga kaigsunan, we work closely in cooperation with government authorities. Mao na nga ingon ng mga katawhan sa Ginoo, dili kita mo'y mag-una-una sa pagsupak. Dihay,
Yeah,
panahon kausa nga na, kanang bitaw madakpan ta bitaw masitata sa traffic violation. Pagkadakong ulaw, Pasordan, ako ang kahimtang mismo as a church leader, professed Christian leader, mga kaigsunan, nga nag-ulo iniktin ta niining atong pagsunod sa balaod sa Pilipinas ug sa mga pulisiya ng albisan lokal, mga kaigsunan.
Gani, malipay ta nga ang balaang kasulatan, no? Iyag yung giendorso nga ang panggamhanan ato silang suportaran. Only nga sa diha na kini mulapas na sa iyang boundary, katong giingon sa Buhat Kapitulo 5 bersikulo 39 nga kun ang balaod sa Dios mauna silbi ang ingon ta tapil didto nga murag di na gid pwede, nag-ingon din na nga we will rather obey God than man, no?
Amen.
But during normal circumstances, mga kaisunan, we are expected to be obedient to our government. Kaya nga naman, actually ang gobyerno naghatag og dako kayo nga kaayuhan sa mga tao, sa iglesia in particular. Pero mao lagi na nga sa i-discuss kagabi ni Attorney Fritz Tagalogin, na adagang salamat Attorney Fritz for a very thorough and very comprehensive discussion. Kita, ingon ng mga sakop sa iglesia, dili ta mulabang pod ngadto sa iya sa estado and vice versa. Tungod kay naay lig-on din nga kural mga kaisunan which make our relationship with state unsa man usa ka maayong relasyon.
Amen. Ato sa pasalamatan, mga kaigsunan, ang studio sa Hope Channel Southern Mindanao,
Yeah, that's it.
nga mao'y responsable sa pagpagawa sa atong video recording kagabi. Karon nga gabi usab atong pasalamatan ang Hope Channel Studio sa Western Mindanao Conference. Usa sa mga bag-o natong studios, mga kaigsunan, and yet it's doing well in its ministry. O gikan didto sa ilahang studio ang ato ang magsusulti karon, who will talk about the special topic church ambassadors. So kitang tanan, mga kapaglaom, mga representante sa Dios ngadto sa kalibutan as members of His church. Atong paminawan o tabangi kami nga i-welcome ang atong magsusulti karon, Pastor Dan, si Fiscal Dicky Bigongob, ang ato ang provincial prosecutor sa province of Misamis Occidental. Apan sa dili pa siya hukad sa iyahang serving niining gabion ng mga kaigsunan, atong pamatian kining pinasahi nga awit ang atong timsong naguluhan, Let Freedom Ring.
I will stand, hold my head up high. I will dedicate my life to the glory of the one who had to die. I will live what I believe. If for no one else but me, to remember freedom's never free. God built freedom into every fiber of creation, and He meant for us to all be free and whole. And when my Lord bought freedom with the blood of His redemption, His cross stamped pardon on my very soul. I'm still can be free and you can sing. Let freedom ring. Let freedom
Evening to everyone. I would like to thank the Department of Public Affairs and Religious Liberty in our conference, through Pastor Dobli in the Union, through Pastor Buscato, and in the division, to my Paniero Rex. Thank you for sharing me and calling me to be part of this program of Public Affairs and Religious Liberty as your and our second speaker. Now, the topic that is assigned to me is church ambassadors. Well, I like this topic very much because through this topic, I also learn many things in my life that I must apply and change. To understand PAR Department's philosophy and approach, it's helpful to look at the focus and avenues that provide blueprint for members to be actively involved in PAR's mission. Every member of Seventh-day Adventist Church is called to be ambassador of the church. And we are ambassadors of Christ and a spokesperson of their church. For this reason, the work of PAR is not something that happens only in the General Conference, the division, the union, or conferences. It's a mission and ministry for every church member. Each one of us, in many different ways, can participate in PAR's core mandate. And what is that mandate? To position the Seventh-day Adventist Church and its services to a standing of credibility, trust, and relevance in the public realm. Wow, I like this point because being a member of PAR, I am now considered as church ambassador. This public affairs and religious liberty is divided with 2 points. And the first point is public affairs. Public affairs is primarily about being an ambassador. As ambassadors for the Adventist Church, we want to make connections within our sphere of influence with thought leaders, whether in the worlds of academia, politics, or media. We can do that through personal contact by holding events or special receptions or dinners. Some of the ways we can make connections include attending public events, becoming involved in local associations, writing letters to the local newspaper, starting in a blog, we will become a blogger, or using social media, or partnering with the like-minded community organizations to pursue shared goal. We invite you to download a special manual prepared by the General Conference Religious Liberty Department called Church Ambassador, a practical guide for all who represent the church and its institutions. Although this was written by a church employees in mind, it contains a wealth of principles and ideas that can be adopted within the local church context. Now, the second part is religious liberty. And under this, we are called to be a voice for freedom. This second part named religious liberty for Adventist Church has been a champion of the fundamental principles for more than 150 years. And as ambassador for the church, you are also called to be a voice of freedom for all people, no matter what their faith tradition. But the question is, how can we be a voice of freedom? First, we have to be informed or stay informed. Learn about the issues and about the Adventist Church's unique understanding of religious freedom. Understand the country's constitutional provisions and laws regarding religious freedom or religious discrimination. Well, in the Philippines, we have our fundamental law, the 1987 Constitution, and under this Constitution, we can find the declaration of our state regarding religion, and there must be a separation between the state and religion as provided in Article 2 of Section 6. How about the Bill of Rights? Our Bill of Rights of the Constitution also mention the declaration of free enjoyment of religion as provided in Article 3 of Section 5. Then we have to explore the resources on this site to find out more about international issues related to religious liberty. How about keeping a network? Make contact with your local conferences, union, or division parallel directors and volunteer your support for any activities of events they are planning. Then get to know other individuals or organizations in your community or country that share the goal of promoting religious freedom. Participate in their events and invite them to take part in the Adventist-sponsored events. And get to know your local elected officials and where they stand on religious freedom issues. Where appropriate, invite them to take part in church-run religious liberty programs. This happened many years ago that we invited in Osami City our very own mayor and was called to speak on our sponsored activities of public affairs and religious liberty. How about keeping a communication? Offer to present about religious liberty issues in your church or at other community venues. Write to the local newspaper. Submit articles for publication. Start a blog or use social media to spread news and information about religious liberty issues. But be sure to spread a proper issues, because so many fake issues, especially in our Facebook and other platforms. When there is a religious liberty issue in your community, alert your conference, union, or division par leader. So, the Bible clearly speaks and called us to be a church ambassador as provided and stated in 2 Corinthians 5:20. The Bible says, "We are therefore Christ's ambassadors, as though God were making his appeal through us." With these words, the Apostle Paul challenges each one of us to be representatives for Christ and his kingdom. The Public Affairs and Religious Liberty Department of the Seventh-day Adventist Church is more than just an office at the General Conference. Power exists at every level of church administration, the division, unions, and conferences, and in many local churches as well. Even our very own president of the General Conference stated and advised us on how to be a church ambassador. And he said, the need for special religious liberty advocates called church ambassadors. At its level of our church organization has become a priority, as with all religious minorities. We are often victims of prejudice because the authorities and the public do not know who we are. Yes, this is really true. We try to compensate from time to time by organizing public events, but these are not adequate if no regular contacts are made or relationships established. Unfortunately, the price we pay for this neglect is often very high. And in order to be called as ambassador of Christ or ambassador of church, we are confronted with 10 commandments. And if we can follow these 10 commandments, surely we are considered as certified ambassadors of our church. And without much ado, this is the number 1 commandment of a good ambassador. Understand your role and mission, meaning we should know who called you. For what are you an ambassador? Second, increase your knowledge. More or less, this 1 and 2 are related to each other. Make yourself familiar with the church you represent and the world to which you are sent. There is a saying that goes, you can force the horse to come into the water, but you can never force the horse to drink the water, except when you will make the horse thirst. For us, members of the Seventh Adventist, members of public affairs and religious liberty, we cannot do our task if we do not know the purpose of being called as ambassador of our church. The third commandment is this: plan carefully and set goals. What do you want to achieve? How are you going to make a difference? And the fourth commandment is that believe everything is possible. What a positive vision, have a positive vision and cultivate positive thoughts. With God, everything is possible, for in God, nothing is impossible. The fifth one is this: follow the path of integrity. Do not lie. Be honest, even if it creates a problem for you. Integrity will be the best element of your character. Daghang nag-ingon nga abogado daw, butbuton, bakakon. Pero dili ko mo to anang pagkaistorya ha. Because for me, for all professions in the Philippines, ang abogado ray akong nahibaw-an nga og mamutbot, kuhaan mig lisensya. Ang ubang profesyon kon mamutbot, di man kuhaan tingali og lisensya. Kami kon mamakak mi, makuhaan mi og lisensya. Mao nga dili gud mi mamutbot. We have to maintain integrity. Ngano mo katawa mamnog mo ingog dili mamutbot ning abogado? Sa tinuray lang, bisag unsay atong profession, kon atong sagulag pamutbot, makapamutbot jud ka. Take this as an example. Example lang ni Hadir, pero dili wala ko gaingon nga mauna na. Kanang manegosyante kuno o ginamos. Pag mopalit ka ginamos, muingon manggod ang mopalit, pakapinig una, so hatagag una, karon kay mahurot naman ang una og pakapin. Pag tako sa ginamos, manghinaw manarapo. Tako sa ginamos, manghinaw manarapo. Pagkahurot sa una, katong tarapuhan, lubagan na pudto didto sa tubig nga gihinawan og butangag asin, ihuwad na pudto sa ginamos. Dali-dali mo na ipakapin una. Bisag asa, bisag unsa, kung mamutbot yun ka. But as lawyers, we are required to be honest. Pag ma-dishonest, kuhao na ang amo ang lisensya. So we have to stand with integrity. Number 6, be humble. To God and only to God is the glory. You are His servant. Bisag unsa atong ranggo, we are just servant. So nothing to boast ourselves. When I start on this presentation, miingon ko nga giganahan ko ani tungod kay many things that I must apply in my life. Kay kani manggong provincial prosecutor ta. Even my family can observe when I am driving my car, when we pass by a checkpoint, pagpaablihan sa pulis ang mitana, piskal! O kilahos kay piskal man. Buyagon ko sa akong asawa. Ayaw anak kay gigamit na yung posisyon. I tried to explain them. Nga kung mayong kong piskal, wala ko nang hinambog. Nagpahibalo ko nila nga prosecutor ko para di na sila malangan og inspeksyon. Warningan ko sa akong asawa, basta masakay akong asawa mo yung siya nga, basin biya tayo nga ang purpose ni mo nang hinambog na ka. And I know that she is correct. Kay being an ambassador of Christ, we must be humbled ourselves. O dili po ni sa tanang panahon tingali nga, magpaubos na lang. If I am the chief of my office, dayon ang akong assistant di ni parehagstan, pwede bag mo ingon ko nga, sige, maghambol ko, isakto na lang ng imua. Dili po tingali. This is not the way we understand this mandate that we must be humble. Meaning, we should not boast ourselves. Kay wa tay ikay nambog atubangan sa Ginoo, kitang tanan tarapuhan ra gid ta atubangan sa Ginoo bisan pag-unsa itong ranggo aning kalibutan. Amen. Nang amin na ang naa sa ilahang mga panimalay. Number 7. Be persistent. Sige lang tang sulay-sulay, unya di ta mo padayon. Daghan kaayong nasugdan apan dili mahuman. So the counsel is never be discouraged. And number 8, be visible. Be active in your community para mahibaw ang ugasa. So most likely in your barangay, kung mangutanang asa balay ni Piskal Gungob, tuluan jud ka nga munay balay ni Piskal Gungob. Pag di katug-anan makaingon, sama rin si Piskal, ay wala ni silingan, kay wa kaila ang mga silingan. Number 9, build a network of friends. You cannot succeed alone. Being biotic in nature, kakinahanglang tagkauban. Friends open the doors of opportunity. And lastly, be loyal and faithful to your church. Don't compromise your faith. Stay firm. You represent your church, not yourself. So, we must be faithful to our church and to our God as well. President Ted Wilson again said, "It is urgent that we equip our churches with talented and committed church ambassadors. They will become the face of the church in the public life of the city or province and of the country. There are many church members who have knowledge and experience of public life and who would be willing to serve in this position. We must find and equip them. The Lord is calling each of us to this special work." The Apostle Paul indicates in 2 Corinthians 5:20 that, "Now then, we are ambassadors for Christ. As though God were pleading through us, we implore you on Christ's behalf, be reconciled to God. The Lord is calling us to do this special work as ambassadors for Christ, in reconciling people with the King of the universe." I like this statement of President Elder Ted Wilson. Now, our manual also has provided something that has to do with the members of the PARL. Under the working policy, the SSD Public Affairs and Religious Liberty Department, or PARL, seeks to promote and maintain the religious liberty within the division, with particular emphasis upon individual liberty of conscience. It gives importance to varied cultures consisting of different ideologies, religions, and beliefs. As such, PARL is involved in government relations, interchurch contacts, and networks with non-governmental organizations which have kindred goals in upholding religious freedom. It continues, the department not only works for the religious liberties of both individual church members and organized entities of the church, but also supports the rightful religious liberty of all people. The department envisions the following outcome: a department that attends to the needs of church members who encounter problems and challenges with regard to the free exercise of their faith and beliefs in the workplace, school, or places of residence. These are done with participations of local field PARL representatives. Another, an International Religious Liberty Associations, or ERLA, established at each country within the SSD to undertake interfaith dialogues with various government, non-government, and religious organizations in the promotion of religious liberty for all people regardless of their beliefs, religions, affiliations, and ideologies. And lastly, a church provided with authentic information about developments in the religious world, favorable or otherwise, in the free exercise of worship, corporately or individually. PAR promotes or monitors and seeks to interpret prudently current trends that may reflect biblical prophetic scenario. This is all about being a church ambassador. I remember the story before I end this message this evening. The story of a very delicious wine in a certain village. Because this village was very known of having this very delicious wine, the department, the DTI, the Department of Tourism, sent their representatives to test their wines in the village so that if this is true, then this wine must be promoted in the whole world. So, the leader of the village announced to all members of the community, requiring them to bring at least 1 gallon of wine from their respective houses so that all these gallon of wines will be kept on a jar and these visitors will have to test their wine. One member of the village said to himself, because we are many, instead of bringing wine, I will just bring 1 gallon of water and pour it in a big jar. So if the representatives from the government will taste it, they cannot detect that I just brought a gallon of water. When that day came, the representatives were there to test their wine. When they tested the wine, they listened the comments of the representative from the government agencies. And this representative, after tasting the wine, said, "Your wine is not different with the test of ordinary." Before this officer could continue, they expected that their wine is not different with the test of ordinary wine, but that is not the statement of the government representative, because according to him, the test of your wine is not different with the test of an ordinary water, because all of them had the same idea of bringing 1 gallon of water instead of wine. Ladies and gentlemen, our co-workers in the government, PARL members who are called to be an ambassador of our church, we have to present our real service. We have to show our real service. Kay kung tubigon ang atong serbisyo nga ihatag, ang matilawan sa mga tao, walay lami nga serbisyo sa Seventh-day Adventist. Kung tubigon ang atong gipakita, kung lasaw ang serbisyo nga atong gipakita, ang matilawan sa mga tao, to a member of 70 Adventist Church who are working in the government, in the politics, mag-ingon sila, parehara na gihapon sa ordinaryo nga mga tao. But if we are going to show our real service, and the real test of 70 Adventist Church members will be shown to the public, and they will say, special giday ang 70 Adventist, and all of us will be considered as special in every agency, in every platform that we are working. Og moingon sila, basta na ay Adventist, special na. And that is the work of an ambassador of church. Daghang kay salamat and good evening once again.
Daghang kayong salamat, Fiscal Dicky, na panalanginan gid mi pag-ayo sa imo ang topiko ni Gabiuna ug napukaw ang atong hagit nga kinahanglan maghimuta og lahi nga timplada alang sa katilingban. As Christians, ingon nga mga Adventista nga mga magtotoo, mga kaigsunan, kung asa kamo karon, gipukaw ta pag-usab sa paghimog kalainan sa kinabuhi sa atong palibot. Pastor Dan, any additional point mahitungod sa atong relasyon sa katilingban ingon nga mga katawan sa Dios?
Yeah, tagang salamat, Pastor Hes. No? Congratulations sa prosecutor sa imong nindot ko kay nga mensahe. Actually, na-remind ko, Pastor Hes, ba nga, sa una, akong namatngunan nga, karami tao tungkol kay Adventista ta, dili kita magsagul-sagul nga ka ng mga purok, dili kita magpamimbroan ng mga samahang nayon, kaya natagi pangkadukan bitaw. Now, nasipyat dita mga kapaglaom, no, kay sa ato day nga paglikay-likay hinoon, inay nga makahatag tag maayong influensya ngadto nila katong giingon ni Fiscal Gungob nga walay sambog bitaw nga kanindot o kalami sa itong mga batasan. Ang nahitabo, atong gi-isolate ang atong kaugalingon to the point nga dili kay ta cooperative, no? Na mga trabaho sa ato ang komunidad, gawas kong matunong jug Sabado, no? Pero kanang naatay, pero naayang teknik ana sa mga cooperative kay mga Adventist, moingon sila, well, kung naamoy mga meeting, naamoy mga pinta kasi o mga kanang bayanihan din ang matunong og Sabado, it's either binlimi og para namo kaya mong trabahoon pagka Domingo, o kung di manggaling gyud mo provide lang og like pagkaon ba kaha, muhatag lang mig kwarta para lang gyud nga ma-feel nila mga kapaglaom atong kooperasyon. Kaysa tinuod lang kinit kadto nga mensahe dili lang kay ang mga nagtrabaho sa gobyerno atong ang gihagit kun dili kitang tanan makaisunan. Kung basahon na ito ang sinulat ni San Pablo, nag-iingon nga, all of us are ambassadors for Christ wherever we are. Sa ito pa nga, dili lang kay magtutudlo ka sa public school, ikaw ambasador. Kung naakaga-employee ka sa ito ang gobyerno, ikaw ambasador. Kitang tanan nga mga sakop sa iglesia.
Amen. Na santop sa kungunahon na din Pastor Dan nga usahay manggod daghang pangutana ang atong mga kabatanunan. Pastor, unsa man pinakamaayo nga kurso alang sa usa ka Adventista nga batanon? Usahay gusto ta mahibalo mga kaigsunan kay naa daw kunoy mga kurso nga dili pang Adventista kay gumikan lagi kay naay trabahong Sabado, naay daghang mga kahilayan nga malambigit sa iyang profesyon, but we will tell you mga young people, mga ginikanan, nga bisan unsa nga kurso igsuon dawaton sa Ginuog panalanginan niya na kung gamiton na to na sa maayong pagi. By the way, kung walay magpulis, kinsa naman lay Adventistang pulis nga mo influensya sa iyang kaubanan nga mga pulis.
Yeah, actually, mas ganahan gani ko, Pastor Hes, kung dunag yo'y daghan nga mga tao maski asa nga sektor. Kaya nga naman, dili lang kay ingon nga, ang uban may man nga, para dili din ta malutos, na natay tao sa Senado, natay tao din sa lower house. Pero moingon ko nga, dili na mo purpose. Ang purpose na nga, atong ma-share ang Christianity nga to sa atong mga workplaces. No, panalitan, pastor at ang tanan. Pagtanaw pa lang ay pastor ang title ani, dagan ang tao dayon. Kaya nga naman,
bias.
bias. Oh. Pero kung moingon nga si attorney nagwali, actually na ako nakita nga mga tao, no, who are working, no, in public service nga pagkamaayo sa ilang influensya. Ang kung imo nang tanawon mga kapaglaom, dinhini nga reminder nato sa ato ang gitawag Public Affairs and Religious Liberty Department of the Church.
Ato ning isipong mga kapaglaom ug mga kaigsunan samtang naa kamo dinha, ug musunod dayon ang ato ang panapos nga kanta karon after sa closing prayer ni Pastor Dan Palomares. You might happen to have some of these questions with relevance sa public affairs and religious liberty. Ayaw mo pagpanagana mga kaigsunan sa pagsulat sa inyong mga pangutana, ipadala as private message sa ato ang mga official Facebook pages. Sama pananglit din sa Hope Channel South Philippines, among i-collect ang tanan ninyong pangutana kay mag-abot ni silang tanan mga kaigsunan. We will address all of them come Saturday afternoon sa AY. So karon pa lang daan na mo idea nga ang atong AY program will all be about information unsa atong mga kagawasan, unsa mga balaod nga nagpanalipod kanato in religious liberty and many other things nga ngayon natong himuon ingon nga mga Adventistang Kristohanon. So tiguma ang inyong mga pangutana, ipadala as private message in our official Facebook pages mga kaigsunan. Ato ng tagapagtagad Sabado sa hapon puhon. So dinhi natapos ang ato ang pagpakiguban karong gabi una. We will see you again tomorrow. Yes. And rest assured, we are addressing all your comments right here. Ang uban sa inyo ha, nangindahay unta nga mas mudaghan ang pulo nga binisaya. We are trying to accommodate all of these questions mga kaigsunan and hopefully we will be able to adjust to these needs for the next few evenings. Pastor Dan.
Akong imbitar ng talano, alas sa to ang closing prayer. Amahan namong Diyos, salamat kayo. Nga imo na sabing gipahinumduman, ingon nga iglesia, o ingon nga mga sakop ni ini. Unsa ang among himuon, sa among trabawan, unsa ang general nga among himuon, isip imong mga imbahador. Salamat sa mensahe, ug tuguti, nga kami makahimo sa among mga buluhaton, sa umog tuyo, nga ang imong ngalan, mapaabot ngadto sa bisan asa nga suok ni kalibutan na. Ikaw magapanalangin sa among mga viewers, tabangi ang naay mga balatian ug dunay mga problema, among gi pangayo kining tanan sa ngalan ni Hesus nga among manluluwas. Amen.
Amen.
I will stand, hold my head up high. I will dedicate my life to the glory of the one who had to die. I will live what I believe. If for no one else but me, to remember freedom's never free. God built freedom into every fiber of creation, and He meant for us to all be free and whole. And when my Lord bought freedom with the blood of His redemption, His cross stamped pardon on my very soul. I'm singing out with every breath. I let the whole world hear it. This hallelujah anthem of the free. That iron bars and heavy chains can never hold us captive. The sun whenever hearts know pain. Let freedom echo through the lonely streets where prisons have no king. You can be free and you can sing. Let freedom ring. Then I'll rise beyond the tempest to a place where angry billows cease. Through it all, I stand in freedom, surrender to the everlasting peace. Never distant, always near, ever present, God is near. Yes, I'll rise beyond the tempest to a place where angry billows cease. Through it all, I stand in freedom, surrender to the everlasting peace. Through it all, I stand in freedom, surrender to the everlasting peace. Let freedom echo through the lonely streets where prisons have no king. You can be free and you can sing. Let freedom ring. You can be free and you can